So let's just settle into our meditation. Any kind of comfortable sitting position, seated position. Given that most of us are sitting on chairs, looking at our computers, my suggestion would be that you have your feet down, flat on the floor in a parallel position, about a hip's width apart. So for the purposes of enabling yourself to concentrate a little bit better, to breathe a little bit better, and for the energy to flow a little bit better, be really trying to sit on top of your sits bones. Your shoulders are aligned with the hips. And really imagine you're lengthening your spine, putting some space in between those vertebrae. And take a nice deep breath. And as you take that breath, just imagine as you're exhaling, just imagine the spine is lengthening. Perhaps there's somebody above the crown of your head, just kind of very gently pulling on this string of pearls of light. And then bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the back of the head, back of the neck. Allow your shoulders and your shoulder blades to drop down and relax the throat, the chest, the belly, and all of your limbs. And then just bring to your awareness any sounds that may be in your environment. So perhaps there's people in your home. Perhaps you can hear something outside. Maybe you have pets. So just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then bring the mind. Just notice the breathing, your breathing. Notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And then just take a step back and have a look and see what's going on in the mind. And if we're not used to looking inside, if we're not used to having a look around the mind, it can be a bit of a scary thing, like kind of driving into a new neighborhood at nighttime. Perhaps you don't want to go there alone. But just see what might be arising. And then, without judgment, without criticism, without following a story, without making up a story, just very, compassionately, kindly, objectively, just observe what's there. And, when we first start looking at our mind, it's kind of very jumbled. There's a lot going on there. It just looks like a million and one things. But gradually over time, we start to see patterns. We start to see habitual thought processes. And not all of them serve us. So we can start to, it's a relief. We've got something to work with now. This is helpful. So just put ourselves on the bank of the river and just watch that river flow on by and just check the quality of the water of your river. And just know that while you're sitting on the bank, you're free from the river. So now bring to mind some people of your life. So here we have a very short meditation on equanimity. It's the first step in developing bodhicitta. So we have these friends that we love, our dear ones, our besties. And then we have people in our life who we don't, we prefer to stay away from, and then we have our strangers. And due to the impermanent nature of this existence we are in, these relationships ebb and flow and change, and they can change place. That friend, that enemy, that stranger. But regardless of how we feel about them all, they're all equal, in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering, and having this extraordinary capacity for enlightened mind. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all the people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. And perhaps there are people in your life that might need a little bit of help right now. So perhaps you can just think of them, perhaps bring them to your side as we do the meditation. So we start by thinking there isn't any negativity that is so awful that we can't do anything about it. We can purify anything. So this is a psychological process. This is what we're working with, is the mind. So we create negativity with the mind, so we can change it by creating positivity instead. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then maybe in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we ourselves might experience. So logically, it makes sense to remove these karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering, and also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And so then what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to for help? So here we come to the power of reliance. And this has got two sections: refuge and developing compassion. So we turn to the Buddha, Vajrasattva, who we see as a doctor, and he has these methods that we can use to purify ourselves. And it's not that we're needing the Buddha to forgive us, we're purifying ourselves by relying upon his methods. So you can imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. So here we have this beautiful image, except it's not quite like that. It's light. It's a light body. And as you close your eyes and you've seen this image once, not everybody in the room is a visualizer. Some people have, different superpowers. So if this is not one of your superpowers, you just imagine light above the crown of your head and try and get a sense, a feeling for how this Buddha is: compassionate, kind, wise. And you can imagine also, this is, if you have a teacher, this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's, as I said, made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. Has this beautiful radiant face, and his eyes are long, and they're shaped like lotus petals, and they're peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life equally. He has a sweet red mouth, and his hair is black and held up in a top knot, and his arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So then we work thinking a little bit about developing compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us. So think particularly of someone you may have harmed recently or in the past, and think of someone who's harmed you, and think that maybe have some compassion for them, because the harm they've done to you will result in suffering in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body. And it fills you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces from your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mempi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anurakta meboa, sawa sidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. So next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you, and all our inappropriate speech or our inability to sort of get out what we want to say intelligently so that people listen to us. All of this is completely purified by this powerful nectar, filling and overflowing. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajrama mimutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida Miboa, Sitokaya Miboa, Sipokaya Miboa, Anorekta Miboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa, Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum, Ha 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 Ho, Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajamami Mutsa Vajabawa, Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe, Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajasapa Dina Patita, Dida Miboa, Sitokaya Miboa, Sipokaya Miboa, Anorekta Miboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa, Kama Sita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Bajasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech, and that includes yourself, because you'll hear what it is you're saying. So next is the purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on that switch, the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment and neediness, bitterness, grudges, disappointments, anxiety, depression, jealousy, all of this instantly dispelled. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajabala Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And imagine Vajrasattva now, again, very happily sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from the mind. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now we come to the power of the resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process, and a really crucial one, is making a determination to not harm with our body and our speech and our mind, or at the very least to think about refraining from harming. So without this, we're going to keep doing the same old things over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to not harm is like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So just remember, everything exists on the tip of the wish. the aspiration. So think of something that you would maybe like to work on between now and tomorrow. Perhaps you have a problem with speech. Perhaps you have a problem with some kinds of foods that you eat that you're not supposed to because it's harmful for your body. Perhaps you have a habit to, just scroll through social media when you should be working. So maybe you procrastinate. Maybe, there's so many things we do. Mainly, I think, though, we do things with our speech, which probably are the main way everybody actually harms. So maybe there's certain aspects of your speech that you could work on. And maybe you could do that. You could think about doing it if it's something you need to refrain from, like gossiping. You just say to yourself, well, I'll just do this between the time I go to bed tonight and when I wake up tomorrow morning. I won't gossip. And you won't, because you would have been asleep. So this determination to not do again, or to refrain from, or to start thinking about things that we're going to refrain from, is what gives us the strength to change. It gives us a little project. And as I've been saying, you can journal your progress. So some of the people in here have been doing this practice now together for almost 3 years. So they will be starting to notice some changes in their lives. So I think Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind. He melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And then there's a little bit about emptiness. And emptiness is just to seal the practice. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, just place your mind there for a little while, and you can think maybe of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And so if any of you if you have His Holiness the Dalai Lama as one of your teachers, just make a strong wish for His Holiness to live long and to stay with us for as long as possible, so He continued to teach and to guide. And then for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And then, of course, any one of your own teachers. Any teacher that you have, doesn't necessarily have to be your Buddhist teacher. Any teachers that you have, anyone that's helped you in your life, make a strong wish for them to live long. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much. Lots of love. I'll see you tomorrow morning. David, we do a 6:30 Pacific time meditation, if you're up for that. I think we might do Tara tomorrow. Everyone seems to like Tara. We'll do the Buddha Tara. All right, everybody. Lots of love. Good night. Sleep well. And I will see you, some of you, all of you, maybe tomorrow morning. Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.